from a variety of backgrounds. We are Scientologists because it has helped us. If you want to know what Scientology is all about, you're always free to come inside and see. If you do not want to, that is totally fine too. I know that I speak for all Austin Scientologists when I say that we are very happy to be a part of this community, and we will do to make it a happy place to live. Scientology.org is our website for anyone to see for themselves. All right, well, that is perfectly adorable. So let's get this story started. As I said, this is Corbin Springer. And this, on the right, is Corbin Springer's mom, Stacy Sass. Now, Stacy is presently married to Jim Sass. And Jim Sass is a very wealthy Scientologist in the Austin area. And I believe as a couple, they have donated close to $3 million to the Austin building. Now, Jim is not Corbin's dad. Stacy is Corbin's mom. Before Stacy was married to Jim, Stacy was married to Tracy. Tracy is a man. That is what Tracy used to look like. Stacy and Tracy were married for a long time, and they had a number of kids.
That's Tracy.
Everything was going along fine until Tracy cheated on Stacy with Stacy's younger sister, Sheila. Oopsie. As if that wasn't bad enough, the problem is that Tracy was in his late 20s, early 30s. Sheila was a minor. By the way, this is a current photo of Sheila. This is not a photo of Sheila as a minor. Sheila was 14 years old. My inside sources tell me it's possible she was 15, but they believe she was 14 years old. Now, what did Scientology do when they found out that one of their leading upstanding members of the community had cheated on his wife with an underage child, his wife's sister? Did they involve the authorities? Did they expel Tracy from Scientology?
Nope,
no.
He's still here.
Sheila, the 14-year-old, happened to also be at the time a staff member of the Church of Scientology of Austin. So all they did was send her to Clearwater, Florida for training. Yes. Instead of involving the authorities in a crime that had occurred against the Scientologist child, they transported that unaccompanied minor across state lines to Florida. I think that's called child trafficking. And she stayed in Florida and did her training, where she conveniently finished her training at the age of 17, which is the age of consent in Texas, and was sent back to Austin, where she then married Tracy.
This guy's a predator, a child predator.
Very convenient that
Tracy.
once they're married, you can't really prosecute a crime there. Okay, so where does that bring us in this story? Yes, let's go back to Corbin. Okay, now, during this time, Corbin and his brother, Barton, but Barton's not really a part of the story to the best of my knowledge. Corbin was, as he says in his article, going to the University of Texas. Okay, so now let's enter into the story. A gentleman that I knew from my time in the Sea Org named Jonathan Davitt. Jonathan Davitt was a Sea Org member working on L. Ron Hubbard Way, where I worked when I was in the Sea Org. We weren't close, but we knew each other. And Jonathan Davitt, this is his LinkedIn profile. It currently says that he's an office manager. Fine. Let's see what he says he did after leaving the Sea Org and relocating to Austin. He was the senior fundraiser, lead fundraiser, senior fundraiser for a nonprofit church organization located in Austin. I was responsible for raising $7.2 million from parishioners, which included fundraising, managing sales teams, setting and meeting quotas, and social media marketing. The project was completed with fantastic results. That is so good for you, Jonathan Davitt. Now, I do not recall why Jonathan Davitt left the Sea Org, whether he routed out or whether he was kicked out. I do not recall, and I do not recall why he ended up in Austin. What I do know is that he ended up being the lead head major fundraiser for the Austin org, and that nearly 100% of the almost $8 million that he raised was raised illegally. Credit card fraud, bank fraud, loan fraud. And one of the people who got suckered into that fraud was Corbin Springer. The same Corbin Springer who is writing a letter to the editor about how the protesters outside of the Church of Scientology are hateful bigots and Scientology shares all the same values as the UT alumni. Well, since Corbin is writing his letter to the editor in a paper that I think the paper's distribution is the students of UT, the students of UT might like to know that what Corbin did with his student loans, the money that was loaned to Corbin for his classes at UT, instead of using that money for UT, he gave the money to Jonathan Davitt. He gave the money to the Church of Scientology of Austin for their building.
That building right over there.
They couldn't have picked a worse person to write a letter to the editor because now I'm doing this video. Okay. So something happened.
They're gonna
something
send off
came
that guy
up.
to
These
hand
financial
out those
irregularities, all this
tickets.
illegal activity, it's like this pendulum swing that occurs in Scientology.
Somewhere
Where the
else, 'cause
executives
I'm
will
here.
turn a blind eye. They know it's happening, but they're pretending it's not happening. And then once something happens that makes it too obvious and they can't pretend that they don't know, then they like come down with a hammer and
Where'd
nuke
Tracy
everyone.
go?
And anyway, it's this pendulum swing that occurs in Scientology.
Oh, there he is. Let's play his story.
So once Corbin's, something flapped, something happened, someone's like, uh-oh, illegal stuff is going on. Stacy and Jim, so Stacy Sass, no longer Stacy Springer. I think their maiden name is like Peterson.
Watermelon.
Patterson. I think Sheila and Stacy's maiden names are Patterson, but we're talking about Corbin's mom. Corbin's mom and her rich husband, once they found out that their son Corbin was going to be in trouble because he illegally used his student loans, they stepped in and paid off all of the student loans to minimize any legal liability. Well, that's fine. That's good. But one of the things about doing that is it doesn't erase the crime that was committed. Mark my words, guys. When Scientology loses its tax-exempt status, it is going to be because of the hundreds of millions of dollars of credit card fraud, bank fraud, and loan fraud, which really are just, to me, sound like different versions of the same thing. They might not be the same thing, but you guys know what I mean. Hundreds of millions of dollars of bank fraud, credit card fraud, loan fraud, wire fraud that Scientology has committed over the last 20 years.
Let's play a Tracy story again. One more time.
So let's get this story started. As I said, this is Corbin Springer. And this, on the right, is Corbin Springer's mom, Stacy Sass. Now, Stacy is presently married to Jim Sass. And Jim Sass is a very wealthy Scientologist in the Austin area. And I believe as a couple, they have donated close to $3 million to the Austin building. Now, Jim is not Corbin's dad. Stacy is Corbin's mom. Before Stacy was married to Jim, Stacy was married to Tracy. Tracy is a man. That is what Tracy used to look like. Stacy and Tracy were married for a long time, and they had a number of kids. Everything was going along fine until Tracy cheated on Stacy with Stacy's younger sister, Sheila.
Where'd Tracy go?
Oopsie. As if that
He didn't
wasn't
want
bad
to hear
enough.
it again?
The problem is that Tracy was in his late 20s, early 30s. Sheila was a minor. By the way, this is a current photo of Sheila. This is not a photo of Sheila as a minor.
We'll be back, guys.
Sheila was years old. My inside sources tell me it's possible she was 15, but they believe she was